Do you ever feel exhausted and drained as a kids yoga teacher? Do you feel like a hypocrite because here you are talking about well-being when you're struggling with your own? If so, this video might be useful for you because I'll be talking all about burnout. I'll be sharing why I think we as kids yoga teachers experience this, some ways to prevent and address burnout, and also some signs to watch for. So I'm Julia Hankins. I'm a children's wellbeing specialist and the founder of Wellbeing Adventurers. And I'm also a mentor, trainer and educator for kids yoga teachers. My mission is to upskill and empower children's wellness practitioners, helping them feel more confident, more organised, ready to share their gifts with the world, making a positive difference in even more children's lives. So when I was a primary teacher, I experienced burnout. It was something that I felt really ashamed of at the time, and I was embarrassed. I actually felt like a failure, and I didn't really want to talk about it. So during my research for my MSc for mental health and wellbeing in education, I discovered just how common and how prolific this is for educators. So I ultimately left full-time teaching because of stress and anxiety, and I felt that the juggle of home and work was just too much. I felt like I was failing everybody, and I thought, yeah, I'll become a kids yoga teacher. Problem solved, right? Wrong. I quickly found myself hurtling towards the same old familiar feelings. So yeah, burnout does happen to us kids yoga teachers too. And today I'm talking all about it because, this is hard and it's shit. And I think it's something we should talk about. So while teaching yoga to kids is often joyful and rewarding, and yeah, it can be fun, and it can be it can make you have a real sense of meaning for your life that is wonderful, and in many ways it's a really special job. But it can also be really physically, emotionally and mentally taxing, especially when you're managing behavior, trying to meet expectations, or juggling multiple sessions in a day. And so these are the reasons why I think we experience burnout. Firstly, emotional exhaustion. We require constant energy and patience and flexibility and adaptability, which can leave us feeling really physically drained and emotionally drained because we're managing other people's energy all day long. In fact, I've talked about that on videos before about managing the energy of the room, but it's not just the children, it's also the adults. And especially, we usually attract particularly challenging children too, or children who have their own challenges, and this can be very emotionally draining. We also can experience physical fatigue. I know myself that some days after I've been teaching a class, I'm really feeling it in a particular muscle group where I'm like, wow, I did way too much frog yesterday, or yep, I can really feel that I did a lot of sun salutations because I repeated the same warm-up activity in, well, some variation, but there were a lot of similar things that I did throughout the day. And so like one particular of my body is feeling really like in pain. And so it can take a lot of toll on your body, especially if you're teaching multiple classes in one day. There can also be stress from managing behaviour, so managing varying attention spans of children, different energy levels. It can be really overwhelming, particularly if you don't feel like you've got any support there. It can feel incredibly lonely, which is why I'm doing what I do, because I don't want you to feel that way. So you can also have such high expectations from other people and also from yourself, really. Parents, schools, or other organisations that you might work with might have unrealistic expectations about what your session's going to achieve, what they should look like. And we can feel pressured to deliver something with somebody else's vision in mind. And those expectations can really put pressure on us, make us feel stressed. There's also, I think, a real creative drain. Coming up with these new, fresh ideas and themes and activities can feel like a constant challenge and lead to mental fatigue or creative fatigue, or kind of like a writer's block. And sometimes, you might have lots of ideas, and then other days it's like, what do I do today? I think there's also a real lack of support for us kids yoga teachers. Unlike classroom teachers who work in teams, they have a staff room, they have a whole, they've got a line manager, they've got people that they can go to if they're struggling. I think yoga teachers don't have that. We can feel isolated with few colleagues to lean on for advice or encouragement. And that's exactly the reason why I set up my Facebook group, School Yoga Teachers, so that other children's yoga teachers who are working in school have that kind of like camaraderie and place to go, and we can support each other. And it's also why I offer mentoring myself, so that I can be like that line manager or that supervisor to support and to reflect back on what's going on. I think there's also a financial pressure because kids yoga isn't always highly paid, and balancing finances with a packed schedule can be really stressful. And actually, within that, you've got all of the kind of processes involved with managing finances. You've got your monthly income and outcoming, you've got all of the kind of tech side of that. I think it can add a real layer of pressure and stress and worry. I think all of these things considered, we can end up neglecting our own self-care, and we can sometimes give to others what we don't actually have ourselves, and we can forget to prioritize our own well-being. And because we're teaching all of these yoga classes ourselves, we can sometimes forget to take them ourselves as adults, or we can just find that we haven't got the time for that, especially if we've got other responsibilities, other family members that we're caring for example. It can be really easy to neglect ourselves. So, how can we prevent or address this burnout? And I think it's really important that we do, otherwise, our business is going to collapse and we're going to have to get a normal job. How many times have you thought that? Like, maybe I should just get a normal job? Let's do something about it so that you don't feel you need to do that. So, firstly, setting boundaries is really important. So, that means however that looks for you, whether that's you limiting the number of classes that you're teaching in a day, or limiting the days of a week that you work, or limiting how many classes you teach in a week, or whether you put boundaries around when you're not working, the time that you've got off. Like, is there a set time that you turn your computer off and you don't answer emails? Is there a time that you will not teach after? Is there a day of the week that you'll always keep clear? And it can be hard for us to do that because we don't have a 9-to-5 job, and a lot of us do work at evenings and weekends. And so it can be hard to set those boundaries, but it's really important to create the boundary around what works for you in your business. So it could be that you do work on evenings, but actually you don't start work until 10:30, and you go for a walk every morning, or you do work at the weekends, but you'd never work on a Tuesday or a Monday. Whatever it looks like in your business, but it's really important to set those boundaries for yourself. So it's easy to say it, but prioritizing self-care is really important. So making time to practice mindfulness or yoga yourself, relaxation for yourself, not just for teaching, and scheduling in that time to have downtime and rest. And also, not necessarily just chilling out kind of rest, but also socializing rest, spending time with friends and family, if that's what you do for fun, having a hobby. Seeking support, I think this is really important. So being able to connect with other kids yoga teachers, so that could be in groups, it could be by email or by personal messaging, having discussions about your challenges and trying to find solutions. And again, my Facebook group, School Yoga Teachers, that's a really useful place for you to share these challenges, where you're not going to be judged, where we're all in the same boat together, and nobody's going to say, oh well, da, 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 da. And if they do, then they're going to get removed from the group, because that's a real dick move, and we're all there together to support each other. So yeah, seek support from others, and ask for support when you need it. I think seeking support is really, really important. And if you feel like you need some personal support, then reach out and I can share with you my information about mentoring, or I'll pop that in the comments below if you feel like you'd benefit from mentoring, because being a sounding board and a support is a real key part of my mentoring process. Planning efficiently. So reusing your plans, and kind of making them work for you and making them easier for you. I've got some videos about that called Playful Planning. There's a series of 3 different ones where I talk about using, like, how to make your planning structure really easy and simple. So yeah, going back to old plans, reusing them, and yeah, building up a bank of activities that you can pull from when you're feeling uninspired. You don't have to create a brand new plan for every lesson. You can reuse what you've got and adapt and change it, or have it as a starting point. Another thing that I think we don't do enough is celebrating our wins. And I think it's because it can be so lonely, we don't have other people to share them with. But noticing when something happens that's really special, really, really celebrating that. And so something that I have done with a few of my mentors in the past is encouraging them to keep a journal with them. So having a little notebook where they write down when something nice happens. So they keep this little journal with them in their bag. And when a child says something really nice, or a teacher says something really nice, or a parent says something really nice, or you observe something really nice, just write it down in your journal, little sunshine journal for you to refer back to if you're feeling low, if you feel like, what's the point of it all? You can have a look and be like, yeah, actually, I really helped that child who came to me and they were mute. And then after working with me for a year, they were talking and they were sharing things. Or, yes, that parent told me that a child taught them a breathing technique when their dog died. Or, these small wins that seem small but actually are big. So they're good to keep track of and look back on. Another thing, which is kind of in line with creating boundaries, is maintaining work-life balance. Now, I don't actually like that phrase, work-life balance, because I really, really feel like my work is my life. I feel like there's a real enmeshment going on there, because my most important thing as being a parent is my children's well-being and their mental, physical, and emotional health. And so I am constantly reading stuff about that. It's just who I am. It's something I'm really interested in. So I don't actually agree that there should be this kind of separation of work and life balance, but I do think there should be balance. I do think that you should be listening to your own nervous system and what is right for you and what's right for your family situation, and not always giving the best of yourself to your work. So creating space and time for the parts of you that are you, and not giving everything to your work. I also think it's really important to do ongoing professional development, and that's something that I do all of the time. I'm always signing up to new things, new learning, reading books, and it doesn't necessarily mean going to an in-person training course. Or it could be that. It doesn't have to be that, especially if you don't have the time for that. You could be reading a book. It could be following somebody who's really inspiring to you. It could be watching videos of other people. It could be watching these. It could be buying my e-courses because they're amazing. It could be lots of different things. But I think when you keep your mind open to new stuff, then it keeps those creative juices flowing, helps to inspire you, and lets you weave new things into your classes and makes them more engaging, and then that impacts on you too. Also, obviously, look after your body. I mean, making sure that you are warmed up before you start teaching, that you yourself are avoiding injuries, that you're looking after your body, that you're taking breaks, that you're eating well, and that sometimes you're not necessarily leading the group. You know, I use my postcards a hell of a lot to sometimes to save my own energy levels. Like, I might just, when I've obviously taught, I don't do that straight away. Obviously, I demonstrate, and I demonstrate different variations of poses. But after I've been working with a group for a while, I can show the image. And then when I've shown the image, I will see, oh, I love the different variations I'm seeing. Look at so and so, look at so and so, saving your body. So here are some burnout signs to watch out for. These are some kind of key indicators that might suggest that your body and that you need a little bit of care. So feeling constantly tired or low on energy, and I feel like this is when they may not really feel like there's a reason for it. So obviously you're going to feel tired and low energy if you didn't get a good night's sleep, or if you just did a really huge, well-being day at a school and taught 10 classes. Obviously you'll feel tired then. But I just mean generally, if you're constantly feeling tired or low energy, that can be a sign of burnout. Obviously it can be a sign of other things too. Go and talk to your doctors, but it's important to just take note. If you feel that you're becoming irritated or frustrated more easily, that can be a sign of burnout. If you're struggling to come up with new ideas, or you're just not feeling excited about teaching anymore, that can also be a sign of burnout. If you are having regular physical aches and pains from overexertion, it could just suggest that maybe you're doing too much. And this is the key one. If you're dreading your classes, or if you're feeling apathetic about them and you just don't really find the joy anymore, that's a key indicator that you're experiencing some burnout in your business. And if you are experiencing those things, reach out either personally or in my group, or to a friend. Whatever you do, don't do it on your own, because this is serious stuff. We need to look after ourselves. So if you're concerned about burnout, addressing it early is really key. And so just making small adjustments, like reducing your teaching schedule, seeking support, prioritizing your own needs, cancelling things that you can cancel, can make a really huge difference. So if you are not already in my group, School Yoga Teachers, please join, because this is a really nice community where you can talk about stuff like that. And if you're struggling with anything and you'd like more support, then consider mentoring with me. You can do this for just 1 hour or 90 minutes, or you could buy a mentoring package and work with me for 6 months. I'm actually running a special offer at the moment, which means that if you buy my mentoring, then you can take your first coaching call in January, and that will see you through all the way to July. But that you will also get early access to all of my e-courses and my resources, so that you can have a little dip in and look at whatever's in there, all of your mentor extras, as well as all the courses that I've delivered. And you'll get lifetime access to that. But if you buy it now, then you'll get early access ahead of your first meeting. So if you're really wanting to make some changes in your business in 2025, or you feel like there's some elements of that's not quite working, you don't know why, or you need extra support, or you just need a listening ear, then maybe I can help you with that. So I'm going to click the link for you to buy. I'm going to add the link for you to buy it now, if you know that's for you. I'm also going to add the link for you to book in a meeting to chat with me, to figure out if this could work for you, because I'm not for everyone, and that's okay. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.